So what's up with it nowadays in the way people raise their kids? Now, bear in mind, I stand in judgment of no one. However, I'm a father myself, and I try to extend freedoms to my children, one of which is 10, about to be 11, and the other is 6. And I extend freedom to both of these as much as possible. I want them to learn to do things on their own. I want them to go into the kitchen by themselves and decide to turn on the stove to make some noodles. I want them to do it all by themselves. I want them to go outside and figure out that they shouldn't screw with the chainsaw or, this or that or the other. You know what I mean? And this all stems from the fact I've noticed I have a neighbor of mine who has a couple of smaller children. One's a toddler, maybe 1 or 2, and the other's, maybe 5 or 6. And I'm watching the way she is with her children, and she's super like helicopter mom. Like, basically, if she's not there every second, literally Hawkeyeing them, then, something bad's going to happen. One of them's going to fall into a pit somewhere. You know what I mean? And, I bring this up because I find it sort of worrying. And I notice this with other parents. I take my kids to the park. I take them to play dates. I take them to do this. I take them to do that. And I notice it with my children or with other children, that, a lot of their parents are this way. And then people wonder why these children grow up to be nervous and anxious and this thing and that thing. And, there's your reason. You know what I mean? There's your reason right there. I'm 36, but when I was a kid, we were told to get out of the house. My parents were older, by the way. My dad was in his early 60s when I was born. But suffice it to say, we were told to get out of the house. Me and my brother, hey, you guys go out and go do something. Don't be hanging around the house. We don't want you here, basically. And we figured out the world for ourselves, and we learned how to interact with the world and interact with others. And I think when you have this helicopter mentality with your children of watching them every moment, or otherwise, some big animal's going to carry them away, or some perverts, there's perverts hanging around every corner waiting to touch your little kids. I think it obviously leads to bad things. And, on a more scientific note, there are countless studies, countless studies that you can just Google that bring up and that reinforce that fact that helicopter parenting is basically ruining our kids. It's ruining our children. So let your kid stub his toe. Let him figure out that he shouldn't stick his finger in the light socket. Let this happen, and your kids will grow up to be more well-adjusted and just better human beings.